Hello, welcome to Inspiring Women with ADHD. I am Renee Allen, the host and creator of this podcast, and I am super excited that you're here, you're listening, and I hope your day is starting as well as mine is. I need to remember that even though it's morning for me, it might not be morning for you. But I'm doing this podcast all on my own, and I don't have anyone telling me things like that. So maybe it's important, maybe it's not. But today I want to talk to you about stress in the body. And this is something that I am an expert in because I've been teaching yoga for many years, and it's the part of yoga that's made the most sense to me. When I learned about anatomy, I studied it. I don't remember all that information. I don't have the recall for the muscles and the tissues. I know where it is. I know what it feels like. But that's not where my understanding deepened. But it did with stress and tuning in to what's happening in the body and understanding how to let that go. So I wanted to share that with you because it's important for all of us as we go through life. We have experiences, we have ups and downs. The last episode was about life can be 50-50. Maybe maybe it isn't necessarily is 50-50, but it can be 50-50. So sometimes things are going really well, sometimes they're not. And when we have emotions that are higher or even lower, and that might make me not make sense how I said that, lower or higher. I've learned that even really positive, exciting emotions can add stress to your life. And that might sound weird, but have you ever had a lot of big changes in your life that are great, they're wonderful, they're exciting, but your body's still processing all of that? Just because it's not devastating or doesn't bring anger or grief, your body still goes through a lot, even with the exciting things or big change things that lead to great, wonderful happiness. The body experiences it all. It brings emotions, and that's how our body functions, is to have those emotions. It seems like, in general, we understand that breathing practices, breathing more slowly, can help when emotions are tense. And if you even look at what the body naturally does with breathing, you can see that certain kinds of breathing, or that your breathing changes when you experience different emotions. So if you're scared, you might go, that kind of thing. My kids used to hate it when we would be driving because sometimes I do that about something that wasn't actually dangerous or scary, but they would get scared. They're like, "Mom, you scared us." And I thought, "Oh, sorry." But sometimes we react differently than others, but you have that, and you're taking in a deep, quick breath. Why? Who knows? But when we do that, we're taking in something, and we have this feeling that goes with it. When we get some news that is really sad, traumatic, devastating, horrible, whatever that negative emotion is, the breathing is more this, it's an exhale, and it's a, oh no, and it's the shoulders come down. The body moves with the breathing. So when you do that, I'm scared or something startling, the shoulders come up, they tense up to the neck, and you take in that quick, deep inhale. When things aren't as good, so there's that different function of how the air comes in and how the air comes out. If you cry, if you really think about crying is a form of breathing. It's a different kind of breathing, and sounds happen with it, which is kind of interesting because, we don't really look at it that way. But as I've learned about different breathing techniques, there's one called bumblebee, and you're actually making the sound of a bee, and there's another one, lion's breath, and you're, so you start to learn as you learn about different breathing techniques, or even the ujjayi breath that I tried to describe a few episodes ago, but my microphone didn't want to pick up background noises, and I guess it thought that my breathing was a background noise. But the ujjayi breath has a ha breath to it, and it might not sound exactly like that, but when you have your mouth closed, it feels the same to do it. So we make different sounds as we breathe. And when you cry, if you think of different kinds of crying, different times that you've cried in your life, if it's very expulsive, you're just getting that out. It's one of the most physical kinds of crying where you're just sobbing and your whole body goes down and down and down. And you're breathing in a different way that is helping your body process, get rid of that emotion. And no one likes to talk about throwing up, but when you throw up, you have something in your body that needs to get out because it's causing some problems. And at some point, some people don't have a hard time. Well, maybe it's hard for everyone, but some people do that more easily in the body. Other people's bodies really fight it. My body fights it to the death because I hate that feeling. Maybe everybody hates that feeling, but I really resist it. And once I do it, it's like, oh, this is so horrible. But your body is thanking you because that's what it needed. And the same can be said for crying, is that we've got this weight, and it might be instant information that causes that crying. It might be something that we've held in, and we start to talk about it, and then it comes out. A lot of people come to yoga classes, and because they take the time to move their body and have that breathing, they can end up crying because they've allowed themselves that space for that. And that happens sometimes. And so it's another way for the body to let go of something that's causing a lot of problems inside. And whether you're thinking about that as rationally or as logically as you would with food poisoning or something like that, it's a similar thing, but we've got this stressed reaction in the body, or the stress in the body, these emotions, sadness. Sometimes crying happens with anger. Sometimes crying happens with happiness. And that's always the thing that's hard for kids to understand. Like, Mom, you're crying and, you're happy. And yeah, I'm happy. But there's emotions. And my grandma used to always talk about, my cup runneth over. And she'd use that in different ways that make me laugh. But I would think about that is when the cup gets full at some point, it looks like it's not that much water, but once it gets to the full part, it comes out a lot more than you would think it would on the surface. And that can happen with our emotions, that they get to a point that they have to come out. And if you resist them coming out, if you hold it in, you're in public, you don't want people to see you crying, or they're putting their arm around your shoulder and they're saying, don't cry, because we often feel very uncomfortable when we see other people cry. We're, for the most part, a society, a culture that thinks that if someone's crying, that's probably really hard for them, and probably what they're going through is hard for them. Or to experience emotions that fully, even if it's a happiness cry, for whatever reason, we get embarrassed by that. And so other people, probably myself included, I'm probably raising my hand here, we put our arms around the person, and, oh, I want to help you. And we do want to help them. And stopping them from crying, maybe it seems like it's helping, but it might be more helpful just to let them cry and to be there with them, and just support them in that way, and letting them process their emotions, just sitting with them, or somebody doing that with us. Or if you're at a point where you feel like, I have these emotions, I keep feeling like I'm about to cry, but I can't cry because I need to function here. I've got people in the house or whatever. If you can, walk outside, take a walk, get in the car, drive, let yourself cry, go in the bathroom, take a bath, or call a friend or whatever, say a prayer. Whatever you can do to take care of those emotions while you're feeling them will really help your body. Otherwise, that stress gets stored in the body. And if you go to the doctor or if you just learn about health, you learn that stress in the body makes you more prone to illness, to inflammation. I'm not a doctor. I don't have, like I said, I don't retain the anatomy information. I also don't retain this kind of information. But if you ask me about a conversation that happened 35 years ago, I could tell you every detail. That's where my memory is. The important things in life, right? It's really fun. We saw some old friends yesterday, I think it was Tuesday, for lunch. We met up with them and I was reliving experiences. I knew the husband from college in 1983. And I always assume everyone else remembers everything as much as I do, and they don't always do that. But yeah, I was recalling a lot of things that were fun. And that wasn't their same. I guess not everyone recalls to that amount of detail. But back to this. Emotions, and stress. And so when we allow stress to be in the body, those cortisol levels are higher. We aren't doing as well. We're not feeling as well. We're not coping as well. Our brain isn't working as well. And we're overall just sensing that in the body. Another result that happens in our bodies when we have a lot of stress, and you can raise your hand if you have experienced this, is we don't sleep as well. We don't fall asleep as easily. We don't stay asleep as easily. You might wake up in the middle of the night and be awake for 1 or 2 hours. If you have so much stress in your body isn't able to rest in the way that it needs to. So what do we do with the stress? Before I even get to that, if you're not convinced that we store stress and emotions in the body, there's a book, The Body Keeps the Score. I think it's called The Body Keeps the Score, or The Body Keeps a Score. Oh my gosh, I have to Google it. Sorry about it. The Body Keeps the Score. Brain, Mind, and Body in the Healing of Trauma. It's a book. And I could tell you the author's name, but I'm just going to tell you The Body Keeps the Score because I don't know if I'll pronounce his name correctly. But that's one book that teaches about this. And another is Max Strom. He is a yoga teacher, but teaches more about breathing techniques now. I've been to a few of his workshops, and he mentioned something that was fascinating to me. And so I made a list as big as I could think of to share with you. But he talked about how he says grief is stored in the lungs and the heart. He talks a lot about the lungs, and that's why the breathing helps, or comes in through the lungs, that kind of thing. Oh no, you freeze up, or even that. There's the fight, flight, or freeze. I've only experienced the freeze a few times in questionable situations. If you want me to share that with you, I will. I never know how much to share, but the freezing aspect, you're pretty much holding your breath the whole time. And it happens without you even trying. It's not like you're trying to be quiet because, there are dangerous people around or whatever. It's just the body goes into that mode. And that's also very, very breath related. But body related, if we think about the shoulders, like the stress and the shoulders come up or the shoulders come down with the grief, we have all these phrases that go along with that show what we are experiencing in our bodies. Like if you find out some really, some bad news, my heart just sank. Oh, that breaks my heart. It's heart-wrenching. Or with heavy heart, we want to let you know, or I need to get this off my chest. Those are all things that have to do with what happens in your chest heart area when we're experiencing something that's not great? What about just the stress, the burdens of life, responsibility? I'm carrying the weight of the world. I'm carrying the weight of the world. Or that's a heavy load. I feel the weight on my shoulders. Some people even say, I don't know that I've said this, but I will shoulder that responsibility. Or what about, I just need to sit down. You get some news or something's happening and you're just thinking, wait a minute, wait, I'm trying to process this. I just need to sit down. It's almost like your body can't even be strong anymore. So you have to sit down. You have to take a moment. Or I need to unload this information. It's like, you need to get that out of you. Or with the, I need to sit down. Do you ever feel like your legs are going to get out or your knees are buckling? I felt that way before, where and that's more, I think, fear of, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can do this. And my knees don't work as well. And I'm questioning myself. And I don't even feel like I can walk away to sit down, but I feel like I'm just going to kind of fall. Something's happening in my body. And if you have a fear of heights, that's what it kind of feels like to me. Besides the dizziness aspect, I didn't have a fear of heights until I was an adult. And I don't know why it happened then, because I used to go off high dives and everything. But when I first realized that I had it and went on a high dive when my kids were younger to show them I could jump off a high dive, I literally felt like my legs couldn't stand up straight anymore, like I was going to fall over. Like I could not walk from the rail of the high dive on that diving board to the end of the board without falling over. And I'd look down and I'd see that the cement around the pool was actually over, around the part of the rail. But what if you felt, like a little too close? I hope I'm not bringing fear to anybody here. But, all those things that just aren't rational because I'm experiencing fear. My body wasn't functioning well. But I could look at the lower board right next to it, exact same size of board, exact same distance from the rail to the end of the board. I could go to the lower board and walk out, stand at the edge, do a cartwheel off of it, walk backwards and do a back dive. I could do any of those things, but something happened in my mind and in my body that made me unable to do it higher. So we have this whole body, mind, emotional, physical. It's so connected. We have this whole relationship that we experience in different ways, or even just with the legs, like, I need to stand my ground. I need to stand up for this. We're showing when I'm strong, my legs work and I stand up tall and my head's high, like go in there with your head high. It's just so interesting. Or the neck and the throat, I have a lump in my throat. I can hardly talk. I'm choking up. It's hard to swallow. I can't breathe. I'm so constrained and I feel so constricted in this situation. Like we physically react to that. Or think of the stomach, like, oh, it was gut wrenching, or I have butterflies in my stomach, or I feel like I was just punched in the gut. Like I just feel like what they said was that physical punch to the gut. So what happened when somebody said something that made it feel like that? Think of if you were punched in the gut. Have you ever been punched in the gut? I have, but we used to kind of play that way. Anyway, yeah. So what happens? The shoulders go down, the body comes inward, and it's like my heart sank, or that made me sick to my stomach. Your head comes down. There's that whole curving inward, forward. So all of this is happening in the body as we process emotions. What about anger? Anger, this is what I've experienced, and this is just me noticing because I'm curious and a yoga teacher. And so once I start doing this on a yoga mat, it just led to this flurry of me noticing everything everywhere in myself, in other people. I probably mentioned it on the podcast before, but when you get angry, when you get upset, watch your shoulders, watch your neck, and watch your head. And just even think about something that makes you angry right now. it all comes up, it all tightens, it clenches your mouth, your teeth, everything. And you may not see it, but you can feel it. If you stop when you're angry and think about what's happening, you'll probably sense all that. And it's like somebody's taking those, are they called vice grips or whatever? Where you just, kind of roll the thing around. They probably do it digital now. And those big metal things come in closer, closer, closer. That's kind of what's happening in your head. That's what's happening in your mouth. It's happening with your shoulders, your neck, everything. So no wonder we have tension in our shoulders. No wonder we have tension in the neck. I kind of do just from demonstrating that, which you're not even watching, but I had to demonstrate it in my body to feel it. So when somebody else is angry, if you want to detach yourself from absorbing their emotions, just watching them like you're watching a show, oh, look at his shoulders, look at his mouth, trying to detach yourself emotionally. That is helpful. If it's happening in yourself and you're angry and you're thinking, I need to reverse this, maybe you don't need to talk yourself out of being angry. Maybe whatever's happening is still upsetting. But if you want to act in a calm way and be rational and not so reactive, especially if it's to somebody in your family and you're trying to work something out or something, someone's doing something that's upsetting to you, just seeing what's happening in your shoulders, your head, your ears, your mouth, taking one part of that and just relaxing it, your mouth, your ears down, your shoulders down, your arms down, making it as loose as you can, will change your breathing. Even without you trying, it will change your mindset because it's all so connected. It's all so connected. Oh, wow. Yeah, it's a lot, huh? It's super, super interesting. And sometimes we just say I just have a feeling inside. So we know we have a feeling inside. And we think of it as in a place in our soul, in our spirit, and it is, but it's all connected to our bodies too. So how is this helpful to know? How is this helpful to know? Because a lot of the stress that we take in, a lot of the emotions we take in, we take in. We don't think about it. We're taking it in instantly. We're taking it in. And once it's coming in, how can you process that? How can you help it? It's not like you're denying the situation's happening, but how can you help it? How can you help your body so your mind can be as clear and as helpful to you as possible? How can you take something that you may need to process for years, that you may need to feel in your heart, in your body for the rest of your life? There are some things we deal with in life that we know time heals. Give it time. This may not even be something that bothers us in a year or 5 years or whatever. That some of those might seem major at the time, but overall they're not. And then there are other things like deaths. The longer we live, we know people who've either lost someone very dear to them or we've lost someone very dear to us. And going back to the first one, there are experiences that we have that are other kinds of losses or other kinds of hits that are very, very deep in the moment. Someone being really mean to us, a relationship that's not going well. And in the moment, it's very big. Maybe for a few years, it's very big. Maybe for 10 years, it's very big. But as time moves on, other people come into our lives. It can get better. And we can help our bodies throughout that to get to that point. And other things like deaths, they can be something that can be something that you deal with forever and process forever. And learning how to do that in healthy ways so that you can continue to live a life that has some joy. You might still have a heavy heart. You might always have that weight with you to some degree, but you still need to function. You still want to have some joy in life. And so whatever, whether it's minor or huge, knowing what works for you, knowing what works for the body is helpful, because just keeping it in and living with that stress, or not being able to sleep for 5 years, 10 years, having tremendous anxiety, however it manifests in your body, it can be helped. It can be lessened with different breathing or different movement. And talking is fabulous. It's a way to process emotions. But studies have shown that talking alone, therapy alone, is not enough to process emotions and get rid of what is just getting stored in your body and causing problems for you. And if you are someone who exercises every day, you've probably learned that that is such a stress relief. That's a great stress relief. I can't even talk, either relief or release. It doesn't always come out right. And going hiking, if you love to hike, you live somewhere where you can hike in pretty places or go on walks or garden, be out in nature. All of those things are really good for the body. Even yoga, it's movement with breath. A lot of people think that yoga is on a mat, moving on your mat, and there are a lot of benefits to that. Last night, I taught a class. 2 of my classes each week are Vinyasa Flow, and that's linking the movement with the breath. And I like to teach patterns that we do, like this is the inhale, this is the exhale. We go through it a few times, and then I let them go through it on their own, because that's what I love. So I share what I love. But you get to get into that meditative state on your own, with your body moving with the breath, without worrying that you're doing it the same way the other person is, at the same timing, exactly like them. You're doing what your body needs, and it becomes super calming. Same for me when I get on a spin bike. When I stand up on a spin bike and I'm going to the rhythm of the music, that is yoga to me, because my breathing is going with it, and I am moving my body with the breath, and it becomes meditative. Same with walking. Or actually more with running, but I don't like to run as much anymore. But running, you really have to get into a breathing pattern with, to be able to maintain it. I'm not a big runner, but I did run for maybe 3 years of my life. And that's what I loved about it at that part of my life. And you may have some other physical activity that you enjoy, but you really do need some kind of movement. It might be that you love weight training and you like to push that barbell up and down, doing a chest press or using the machines. I have a hard time with the machines. And I'm really thinking it's ADHD related, because it's a lot to learn. Like, to me, I look at all the machines and like, I'd have to figure out how to use every single one of those and then remember before it became fun. And so I haven't done that. I haven't done that. But I figured out kettlebells, dumbbells, medicine balls, what else? Heavy bag. Oh yeah, kickboxing and punching bag, heavy bag. Super, super nice release, because you can get into the rhythm with the music. Punch, punch, kick, kick. Dancing, if you love dancing, you're a good dancer. I don't know that I'm a good dancer, but I do love dancing. But yeah, just putting on some music. You can just do that at home. You can just put on the music. If you have kids at home, we used to play Michael Jackson. I don't know if you like Michael Jackson. I used to play whatever CD I bought at a garage sale, but I also played a lot of 80s music, and dancing in the house with your kids on your own, putting in earbuds, dancing around. Getting that movement is super, super helpful. Okay. This is total ADHD moment. And I don't like to blame everything on ADHD, but a lot of things I have to. But every time I make an episode, I think later, oh, I forgot to say that. I forgot to talk about that, which probably seems silly because I talked for a long time. But I did miss a whole little section that I had written down about breathing. That when we go through something like scary, like let's say you go through a haunted house or you're walking in the dark, and then you go, I can finally breathe again, Or something like, oh, it's so emotional. Like you watch a romantic comedy or something and, oh, it took my breath away, or I was gasping for air. Like there are times that it's probably not a very good, I'm a terrible actress, but sometimes you feel like you're just gasping. Like, and you even say that, like if you were to have a cartoon that said gasp, you'd be going, like that's the reaction. And I can hardly breathe. Sometimes we just see things that it's just so tender and so moving, and you just think, I can hardly breathe, because your whole heart comes in. And that can be something that's happy. But you see a child that's sleeping at night, and oh my goodness, they're just as cute as they are in real life times 10. It's so precious. And I feel like that, like I can hardly breathe. They're just so cute. They're so cute. But yeah. So think about it. Think about how you process your emotions, how you store them. If you resist crying, if you think, there are times of my life where I almost start to cry and then I don't, because I got to get going. I got to get out the door. I got to do this. And that might happen 3 or 4 times. And then something happens. It's like that little straw that broke the camel's back, and it comes out. And that's healthy for it to do. And we can't always cry every second. I understand that. But if you need to, find a way to let yourself do that, because that is a breathing technique that we don't even have to think about. We don't have to count certain counts on the inhale or exhale, or hold your breath with this, or put a finger over your nose and nostril. There's a lot of breathing techniques. And I do want to share them eventually, but I got to figure out how to do that without this microphone making it impossible. But thank you so much for listening today. I'm happy that you're out there, that, I don't know, I feel like you're in this room with me, and that we're all talking, even though I'm the only one talking. I feel like I'm connecting with you, and that just makes me so happy. So thanks for being here. In between podcasts, I have been working and fine-tuning my focus journal, focus guide, and the 5-day focus course. They're all free. Eventually, I'll probably charge for the focus course, but the focus course starts every Monday. The guide and the journal go with it. But if you want to sign up for either one of those on their own, I've made them available in pink, blue, PDF to print, or if you love Google Docs. I thought if I put them on Google Docs, I want it to still be pretty. So I made those available on pink and blue. I can't talk. Anyway, you have the option to copy them to Google Doc too. And you can write in there. And that took a little bit of thinking, but it was fun. It was one of those hyper-focus things that took me many, many, many hours. But it was fun to do, because it was something that I wanted to do. I wanted to make it possible for you, if you want to use any of those tools to help you focus, get things done, because we can. We're very, very capable. We just have to use tools and methods to help that happen. So thanks for being here. I'll be back again. Bye.
Double chins, rubber ducks, squeaky cheese and paper cups, applesauce, Superman, rocket ships and Peter Pan, boogie boards and parachutes and soda cans, jumping jacks and pillowcases for my hands, Donald Duck and fire trucks and Pokemon, Santa Claus and Johnny Depp and Donkey Kong, chocolate chips and zipper zips and 914, little children jumping on the trampoline, model trains and passing lanes and super glue, tangerines and magazines and kangaroo.
Oh yeah, Daily Rock.
Rewind, I've run out of time to sing melodies and harmonies. I'm cut short, the silence of sound has yet been found, but not by me. I buttered my toast, spread on some grape jelly. I don't mean to boast, but I'm a chef and a good one. Open windows, broken shadows. Frozen dreams are left for tomorrow. Without a cause. No time for a pause. Rewind, I've run out of time to sing melodies and harmonies. I'm cut short. The silence of sound has yet been found, but not by me.